evening, everyone. It's Cricket Lot and the crew, and it is Wednesday, June 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are talking about the Finca Botanica farm in Ecuador. I think that's how you pronounce it. And specifically the product of Ylang Ylang that's grown there. And if you got a newsletter this month with your order, that's what inspired me to do this. This is the I don't know what inside page in the upper right hand corner. It tells about it. So I'm just going to kind of do a synopsis of this, and then actually I'm going to do that second. We're going to first let Gary take you on a tour of the farm, which is pretty cool. And so we're going to share the screen and go to, let's just share the screen. And then I need to bring up this YouTube video. And put this in here. Let's see, and share. I need to more. Share sound. Okay, don't forget that. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
And he's just walking around right now. Can you hear that at all?
Yeah.
Here on the Young Living Farm in Guayaquil, Ecuador, at the Ylang Ylang plantation, it's harvest time again. The main production time for Ylang Ylang runs from February to May, and that's the heaviest production, just as the monsoon rains start to end. The trees load up with water from the rain, and they put flowers on. The flowers become very heavy laden with the water, which increases the glucose, or what we call the bricks in the flower, and that all converts to essential oil, and is very exciting. Ylang Ylang trees produce the highest level of oil at nighttime. In fact, if we picked the flowers at night, they'd be the most fragrant. And because we have the Ylang Ylang trees around our house, and we have our window open at night to let the breeze in, because here on the farm, there's just like you see the leaves moving here, there's always a gentle breeze that blows most of the time, and it's just most refreshing. It keeps the air clean, it helps to move the mosquitoes out during mosquito time. But at night when it's cool and that breeze blows in through the windows of the house, the whole house fills up with the fragrance of the Ylang Ylang flower, because the Ylang Ylang produces the most oil in the flowers during the nighttime. So it's really important that my crew comes in the field just after daylight or soon after daylight and start picking. And I like to end the picking no later than 10 o'clock, because after 10 o'clock in the morning and the heat comes up, the oil will start to go down in the flowers. And so when you come in the field and you smell the trees in the afternoon or even noontime or later afternoon, mid-afternoon time, the fragrance won't be as intense. Even when you pick a flower off the tree and you smell it, the fragrance isn't as rich, because the oil will always go back during the heat of the day to preserve the tree. And then at night as it cools, it comes back into the leaf. Very, very interesting how it preserves itself. And when we're picking flowers, it's most interesting because, you know, with the Ylang Ylang, very much like other plants that produce aromatic oils, and perfume houses and brokerage houses and aromatherapist brokers for oils, the problem is worldwide and it's everywhere. If a company that's marketing oils is not growing the plant or engaged in a cooperative growing project with the farmer, as we are in Young Living, and Young Living owns over 4,500 acres of farms throughout the world. We have farms on 5 continents and distilleries, and we are in partnership with many others. But through that, I supervise the majority of the growing, the harvesting, and the type of distillation that we do with our plant material through Young Living. That's why in Young Living I can guarantee the highest quality essential oils that exist in the world. One, simply because I grew up as a farmer, I understand plants, I understand soil, I understand nutrition of the soil to produce a good outcome. And if you don't know that, anyone can come along and sell you an essential oil and say, hey, it's really good, and here's a GC to show that it has all the right constituents in it. But that is not necessarily true. Anybody can print a GC. Only if you grow, only if you plant, only if you harvest, and if you understand what's supposed to be in that plant to make it the finest quality oil in constituents, and you understand how a GC can be operated and the beautiful function of a GC and an MS and identifying the compounds and the percentage of them. But there's more to it than that. It's coming and understanding what is the best time to take the leaf or harvest the plant, whether it's rosemary or lavender or clary sage from the field. What is the best time of the day? Just like the Ylang Ylang. The best time is at midnight to 4 in the morning. That's the best time, but it's hard to get people to pick during that time of the night. So we pick at daylight till 10 o'clock because we found that the oil maintains up till 9, 10 o'clock, and then we'll start losing some of that value. But the next thing that's really important to know is which flowers do you pick? You know, you can look at a flower like this, or in many cases, pickers will pick a flower very similar to this. So you still have a flower, and you can see here the nice long petals on this flower. This one is starting to shrivel, is starting to atrophy. And why? Because this flower is over mature. This flower looks just almost right, and you turn it, you can see the yellow leaf here. And let me get one more. Yes, right here. Now we have a good visual where we can really see the difference. We've got a flower that the petals are starting to shrivel. This flower is over mature. Then we have this one that's got a nice yellow leaf, and as we turn it, we can even look inside here and we see there's a little green on this leaf. But if we compare it with this flower here right beside it, it's still relatively quite lime green in color. What we have again is just like other plants. It is in the harvesting and knowing the right time and here the right flowers to pick, because harvesting Ylang Ylang is all done by hand. So when you pay a picker by the kilo to go in and pick the flowers, this is what you'll have. You'll have green, you'll have yellow, and you'll have oxidized brownish yellow. And this will all go in the basket because that picker wants to make as much volume as he can, because that's how he's paid. And unfortunately, in the commercial farms, that's how it happens. So you'll have a mixture of green to yellow to brownish, oxidized, shriveling flower. Now what makes that bad? When this flower starts to oxidize, such as this, it also, because the compounds start to hydrolyze, it creates a sour smell, and that will affect the oil. And so you can go from having a beautiful flower like this that's yellowish and mature and rich in fragrance, which would be classified as an extra fine grade. With Ylang Ylang we have 4 grades. We have extra fine, we have fine, we have first, second, and they'll even give a third and a fourth qualification, but the only ones that we're concerned about are the first 4 grades. So we have extra, and this here would be classified a 3rd grade or 4th grade oil. The green here would be classified also a 2nd grade oil because it hasn't matured yet. Now, how do we know when the flower is mature? That is really important to know. And one is you start, as we have done here, as I have done here, training my people how to recognize the flower to pick. So I pick it, I have them smell it and smell it and smell it until they build a memory of the smell. Then I have them pick this flower that's oxidized, and smell it, and you can smell the sour note in it, almost like it's rancid. It still has a beautiful fragrance, but you can smell that sour note, that rancid, just, it's very mild, very little, but it's there. And so we don't want this. This is okay for the oil brokers out there that's just selling oils in the aromatherapy industry, but not for Young Living. Young Living stands on quality and standard higher than any company in the world. And why? Because I supervise all the growing and harvesting. And here again is the best. Now there's another way to tell with Ylang Ylang flowers. You can take and open the flower up, and right at the base inside you'll look where the petal connects on, and you'll see here a little spot of red. And generally it'll show on one. I've not seen it on more than 2 petals, and there we go. We open it up and we look at it, and there's the red right at the base of 2 petals. When we see this, it's indicative of the compound called indole, which is very, very important in the Ylang Ylang oil. You don't get that when the flower is too mature, and you don't get it when the flower is not mature enough. So if you don't pick at the right time, that very, very key note in the essential oil is not going to be there. This is what makes Ylang Ylang extra fine, and that is only found in Young Living essential oils.
Pretty cool, huh? It's great to see Gary, for one thing. If none of you have seen him before, he's quite a speaker and very knowledgeable about all aspects, of course, of the business. He's the one that designed most of the distillation methods that are used by almost all the essential oil companies. Now he designed it and created it for Young Living. So I wanted to summarize this article because it gives just a little bit more facts about the distillation and the picking and that kind of thing. So there's 50 harvesters, and they walk among 320 acres, 320 acres of Ylang Ylang trees at the Finca Botanica farm. And that farm is like 2,000 acres. So just 350 of it is the Ylang Ylang trees. And Nicholas Chong is the head of that team. And they ask him what an average day is like. So the days are hot, as high as 87 degrees. And you can imagine the humidity after it's just been monsoon season, Gary said. So for part of the year, powerful rainstorms roll in and out while the team handpicks the Ylang Ylang flowers. Typically, we harvest year-round, but the highest volume harvest months are from June to January, and Gary just said that. So they have baskets strapped on their backs, and they pick the flowers with all 6 petals in bloom and a red tint around their center. So that's what Gary just showed. And only properly matured flowers produce a high quality yield during distillation. Primo Chavez, who has over 10 years of experience with Young Living, then weighs the baskets and records the results as the flowers are dropped off in the distillery. The flowers are then loaded into one of the 14 cookers in the distillery. Each cooker holds 110 pounds. So you saw that wimpy, floppy little flower? Can you imagine how many flowers it takes to get to 110 pounds? That's a lot. That's a lot. And they steam on average for 6 hours in the distillery. So the steam captures the essence from the bottom as it rises from the bottom, and then The steam cools in the tube and condenses and exits the cooker into a beaker, and that's where the oil and the water separate. And then the water sinks to the bottom, and the Ylang Ylang goes to the top. And then a sample is collected and taken to the lab technician, where they check for the seed to seal markers that they need to do. And of course, they've had organic cultivation practices. They protect the soil health, hand harvest. And then once the testing is complete, the Ylang Ylang is stored in food grade stainless steel canisters, and then it gets shipped to the US for bottling. So it's just amazing to me. This is a picture of the flowers. So it looks like they kind of grow in like bunches or something. But I mean, it was no bigger than his hand, so they're not very huge from what they look like in the picture there. So, wow.
Is that June?
I can't believe that's been like 10 years.
What's that?
I said, is that
I
June?
can't believe that was 10 years.
Yeah. What, Doris?
Is that June's monthly?
Let me see what it says. April, May, June.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I have another video of a gal talking about uses for Ylang Ylang. Well, not really uses, but why Young Living Ylang Ylang. So I'm going to share that. And that is not what I wanted. I wanted share screen. Share. Then I want to go to this and copy this and go to this and fix it and put that in. And this is only 1 minute, so. Oh, that is not the one I wanted, but. So you can find lots of stuff about the farm, about Ylang Ylang, if you go on YouTube and just put those parameters in. But just reading from the reference book, the big blue essential oil desk reference, Ylang Ylang means flower of flowers. The flowers have been used to cover the beds of newlywed couples on their wedding night, traditionally used in hair formulas to promote thick, shiny, lustrous hair. Flowers are picked early in the morning to maximize oil yield. And the highest quality oil is drawn from the first distillation and is known as Ylang Ylang Complete. Do y'all have your Ylang Ylang up with you? It's wonderful smell. I love that smell. So the medical properties of Ylang Ylang, it's antispasmodic, it's vasodilating, anti-diabetic, anti-inflammatory, anti-parasitic, and it regulates heartbeat. So uses cardiac arrhythmia, cardiac problems, anxiety, hypertension, depression, hair loss, and intestinal problems. And if you diffuse it, it balances male-female energies, enhances spiritual attunement, combats anger, combats low self-esteem, increases focus of thoughts, filters out negative energy, and restores confidence and peace. So it does mention taking as a dietary supplement in here. We don't have it as a vitality oil, but it does mention that. Topically, you can put a drop on. It's pretty mild, so you don't need to dilute it, or you can diffuse it, of course. Then I just wanted to give you an idea of how pervasive this oil is. I don't know if you knew, but in the back of your reference book, there's a chart that tells what the single oil is, and then what the botanical name is, and then what products contain that single oil. So this is Ylang Ylang, that big square right there. That's all the products that Ylang Ylang is in.
Holy moly, there's a lot.
I know. So just to give you a little bit of a idea of what it can be used for. So it's in animal sense ointment. So supporting your skin, we said supporting your hair. Aroma Life, that's a good one for supporting cardiovascular. Deodorants, all kinds of the art products, all kinds of the renewal serum. I'm not going to read all the different beauty products, but bath gels, let's see, deodorants, all that, and moisturizers. It's in Awaken, in Believe, in Build Your Dream, in Clarity, in Common Sense, in Dreamcatcher, Faith, Family, Field, Finance, Forgiveness, Friends. I think it's in all the Ula oils. In Gathering, Gratitude, Grounding, Harmony, Highest Potential, Humility, Inner Child, Inner Harmony, Inspiration, Into the Future, Joy, Kid Sense Lotion. So a bunch of Kid Sense products. Bar soaps, Live Your Passion, Loyalty, Magnify Your Purpose, the sunscreen lotion, Ula Balance, Ula Grow, Peace and Calming, Present Time, Reconnect, Relaxation Massage Oil, Sacred Mountain, let's see, White Angelica. So
Might not always, you should have probably read the list of what it's not in.
Yes, exactly. That probably would have been shorter, but it looks like it's in almost all of the emotional oils. So you can see it's wonderful. You put it over your heart, put it on your wrists, just luxuriate in this smell. It's just amazing. So that was kind of what I had. It's kind of a short night, but any questions at all? Okay.
It was great seeing Gary.
Yeah. So they extended the time for registering for convention. So if you're not registered yet and you want to still register, you can, and still get in on getting convention products with the first wave of people that get them during convention instead of waiting until the month or two after convention for the new product. So just go on the Young Living website and look for events, And then you can find conventional, say register now. So it's only $55 and you get 3 days worth of, this is the agenda for it. Those are all speakers, different speakers during the day, and they'll have them up for at least a month or two that you can still listen to if you don't get to listen to them live every time, during time. We're going to have some people at my house watching, so you're welcome to come if you're in the Lansing area and hang out if you're registered. So all right, ladies, well, thanks for coming tonight. Have a great evening. I love y'all.
Yeah.
See you next Wednesday.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, I better stop the recording here.